Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Welcome to WildChild Records. I'm your host, Jay Stoyan, and on the show today, we have musician all the way from Alberta, Canada. We have Shalaine Stebner on the show. Very exciting. She's a triple threat. She's a musician, she's a business lady, and she's a mom. So stay tuned. You're watching WildChild Records. We'll be right back with musician Shalaine Stebner.
This is the Disability Channel telling you to check out pop rock group Brandywine from Seattle, Washington. If you're a fan of pop, rock, R&B, and blues, then Brandywine has a little bit of everything you need to get the party started.
Welcome back to WildChild Records. I'm your host, Jay Stoyan. On the show today, we have from Alberta, Canada, we have musician Shalaine Stebner. Shalaine, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much.
This is great. Now, tell us what time it is out there in Alberta right now.
It's 9 o'clock in the morning.
But since you're a mom, I know you've probably been up for a couple hours already.
I'd like to say yes, but my kids are 7 and 9, so I got to sleep in.
Oh, nice. So they've hit the sleep-in stage, I guess. They like
They're
that, yeah.
not. They didn't hit the sleep-in stage, but they hit the stage where when they get up, they just like go and watch TV.
Nice. Now, let me give a little bit of a backdrop on Shalaine. So, Shalaine is part of Big Records music platform out of Vancouver, BC, with Mark Rosner, Tim, and all the gang out there. Wonderful platform showcasing independent and mainstream artists, along with singles and gigs and live events. So, I know yesterday you were on our flagship show, the Today Show, with Dr. Lori Davis. So, tell us a little bit how that went.
It was wonderful. We talked about a lot of things like how do you juggle everything, and this type of support that you need when you're trying to do everything, because we can't do everything ourselves. So maintaining that support, and the coolest part about all of that is she literally is maybe like an hour away from me, which is so crazy. And so she's living just close to my old stomping ground, so that's kind of cool. Really neat to find somebody so close to me.
Isn't that nice? I know she told me you guys also have a mutual friend, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Really? That's
Yeah,
so such a small world, like all of a
it
sudden,
is.
and oh wow, you know somebody. So let's get into your music career. I know we talked about the wonderful story about your relationship with your dad. So
Hmm.
tell me, because that's kind of how you got started, right? With your
Yeah,
dad, right?
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
tell our viewers that story. That was such a great story to share.
So my dad, since he was in high school, he was in a band, and he drums in the band, and uh, and so there was always he had music in his heart. And when he got older and we came along, then there was always a band in our basement practicing with all of his buddies and whatever. And it kind of so being able to view and be a part of that as little kids was so cool. And then they were playing at a reunion or an anniversary party, and one of the ladies in the band was like, do you want to come and sing with us? And I was like, yeah, I do. And then so I get up there, and I think I'm probably like 8 or 9, and she's like, okay, here's the words to the song. And I'm like, I don't need the words. I have been singing this with you for the last 3 years, right? So and it was Dream Lover. So I got to sing the girl part of it. But so that kind of instilled that desire to be on stage and do anything and everything in my willpower to get on stage. I love being up there. I love all eyes on me. That just was my drive to continue. And so when we finally got a band together, and anytime I played anywhere, my dad would come and play drums for me. And there's always a little bit of heckling. There's always a little bit of banter, and a lot of times people will come up after me and say like, you you were really mean to your drummer. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm allowed to be mean to him, right? And it's all in good fun. It's all in good fun.
And how do you think, like, give us a little bit of perspective on your dad's point of view of watching his little girl, become a part of the band and then take the band over.
Yeah, right. I every once in a while I'll catch him, I'll look back and catch him, and he just has the biggest grin on his face. Like, and like every once in a while there were like little tears welling up in his eyes, and it's just it's such a unique relationship that a lot of people don't have with their father or their parents. And I'm so proud that I can call him up and say like, hey, I'm playing here, you want to come? And usually it's a yes, right? Sometimes it's a no, but he's getting a little bit older. He's 68 now, so he asked to not play so much because we have been playing a lot in the summertime, and he's a truck driver and his shoulders are getting a little sore. So I relieved him of his duties when he chooses to be relieved of his duties. But
So he's a stand-in drummer, I guess, whenever
yeah,
he can make it or wherever he wants to participate.
yeah,
What type
whatever he
of
wants.
does your dad is he a cover guy, original? What type of music does your dad like?
He's a cover guy for
He's a cover
sure.
guy?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And since he's 68, a few years older than me, who are some of his drumming inspirations?
Oh gosh, I couldn't tell you that. I don't think we've had those kind of conversations, but I definitely when I first started learning how to play the guitar, I was part of I like to call them my old fart band because it was just a bunch of old retired people that just like got together and loved playing music. But when him and my one guitar friend Morris Paul got together and they would play Wipeout, like it was magical, right? Like they were so good, and it was so cool to just see them both like jiving together, and afterwards they'd be like sweating and they're like, we need to take a break because they're like exhausted. But it was so good.
Here we are. I have you on to showcase your career, and we're talking about your dad. But it's such a dynamic, like a family dynamic. And let me ask you, like, how does your mom fit into this? Where is she in all this?
I would say she's the supporting person in way in the back. Like she does not if I asked her to come on stage, she would probably leave. So and I think that's great. There can't and not everybody can be on the stage, right? We have to have that supporting, and so she'll often, she'll come and she'll, sit in the corner and bop along, or like look at her phone, and I know she's enjoying it, but just like doesn't want to make eye contact because maybe I would like draw attention to her. But since my dad has not played with us as much, when they do come, they love dancing, so
Okay.
they get to dance when I play. So and that's lovely. Again, just such a like a heartfelt, it's just a full circle of proud on my end too, that I get to provide them that
And,
opportunity.
and how about any siblings that are musically inclined or no?
No, I have a sister and a brother, but they, again, like we always did like drama, but they were never singers. They were never musicians. I think my parents bought my brother a bass guitar once, and I think, or an electric guitar, and then it was not very long before he pawned it. So
And have you started to pass it down to your kids, or still a little bit too young?
yeah, so my son, my 9-year-old, he's my percussion man. So I went in last year, I played at a Christmas market, and we have a cajon, which is just a box that you sit on and tap along to. And so he came with the cajon and he played for the whole hour that we played, and it was so special. And I think that if my daughter, who's 7, if she wants to do anything, it'll also be singing. She also likes to be the center of attention, so I can get her up every once in a while to sing "Strawberry Wine" with me, and it's adorable when the lyrics go. I still remember when 30 was old, and here's this little 7-year-old singing in this like angelic voice about being old and having a first time with it's quite hilarious, but
That's
she
great. I
loves
love
it.
it. On the show today, we have musician Shalaine Stebner telling us all about her dynamic family music tree, all about her career. Want to give a big shout out to Big Records. Can you tell us a little bit about how you connected with Mark and Big Records, and actually what they do for you and other independent musicians, Shalaine, if that's okay?
Absolutely. So I am a part of the International Singer-Songwriters Association, and so they do an award show every year. And so I knew that I needed help because I'm only one person and I can only juggle so much. And so the things that I was trying to do, I didn't know how to get there. And so when the nominations came out for like promoter of the year and whatever, I kind of went through, and they say whether you're in Canada or in the US or wherever the heck you're from. And so I kind of went through and picked through the Canadian nominees, and went to their websites and kind of checked everything out, and it seemed like big records aligned with what I wanted and what I needed the best. And so I had an interview with Michael Bate, and then I had an interview with Mark, and we kind of went back and forth. And I was like, I don't know if this is right for me. I don't know if this is like the right time. And they're so supportive. They're like, take all the time you want, but just know, like, we want to help you, right? And I think that that's the best part of it all, is that they just want you to succeed, right? And so anything that they have in their back pocket that they can help you with, they're more than willing to do so. So radio releases, talking to you, getting interviews and whatnot. I know that my networking abilities are about this big, and theirs is like this big, right? And so I needed friends. I needed to find a friend that could help and support me the way that I needed to, and they are so fantastic. It's just like a family. Like every time that we have a meeting, it's just like I just love them all. And Tim Steinrach, if you ever meet him, he's ZZ Top Jesus, and he is the coolest guy ever. Gosh, I have like a major like girl crush on him.
Well, that's great because I'm well entwined with Mark and the musicians there, and I can't say enough about them. They are so supportive of independent, mainstream, very innovative, very kind, open, and like casual, but always want the best for the musicians. I just want people to know that we do have a live studio here, and we do have cats and dogs in our studio. So in case you hear, it's my dog chasing the cats around. So we love it. We love it. Our studio's full action, full day, all the time. So what we're gonna do? Let's take a quick break, and when I come back, I want to talk about get into a little bit of writing and what your inspiration for music and a little bit of live gigs. We want to talk about the February 2nd gig coming up. So stay tuned. You're watching WildChild Records. On a show today from Alberta, we have musician Shalaine Stebner. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with WildChild Records.
This is the Disability Channel telling you to check out Nova Scotian country singer Fraser Newcomb. Blending his own brand of Canadian country and often brandishing his signature lobster-shaped guitar, Fraser Newcomb is a bold new face in the country music scene. Check him out today.
Welcome back to the show. Now, before we get started, I would like you to pronounce your name properly because I know I probably butchered it about 10 times so far. So take it away.
It's Shalaine Stebner.
Shalaine Stebner. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now I'll probably forget it in about 10 seconds. So
For sure.
so let's talk because I know you said you have a couple singles coming up. So let's share your music talent, your writing, how you get into it, all that kind of stuff.
Rating to me is it's kind of it can get a little bit crazy every once in a while. I do know on my phone I have in my notes I've got like taglines. There's probably like 100 tags of things that when it comes up in my mind or I hear it somewhere, I'm like, man, I want to make that into a song. But sometimes it doesn't happen right away. They can sit on the shelf for a while, or you start something and then it's like, oh, that doesn't actually really go anywhere or in the direction that I want it to. So then again, you put it on the shelf. And then there are other times where you just like sit down with this crazy focus that you can't do anything else until whatever is in your brain comes out on the paper. And it gets a little bit crazy, and it's every once in a while. And sometimes I'll be sitting there with like this glazed look on my face, and my husband says, just go write it. And I'm like, oh, all right, okay. And you go and write things down. But I haven't really found my groove with co-writing, just because I struggle with finding the right connection with people in that moment to write. And then also I hate when they're like, okay, it's 7 o'clock, let's write a song, and I'm like, I am not into this at all. So sometimes it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, oh my god, you wake up with this like song in your head. or you're driving and you some inspiration hits you, and so I have like a little notepad that I'll scribble on, but there's not necessarily an exact rhyme or reason, and I think that that's the best part about art, is that there doesn't have to be a specific follow these steps, or there's no guidelines that you have to follow. That's what I love the most about art.
Let me ask you this. I know earlier you said you had the guitar in your hand. So when you're on stage, are you more focused on the singing, or are you doing dual? Like, are you playing and
I do
singing?
both. Yeah, yeah, I
I
do
have
both.
I have to say something, because as a terrible, terrible musician, right? Terrible. I have so much praise and sort of jaw dropping to watch a lead singer play an instrument, play the crowd, and be good. Like, it has to be like it's rocket science talent. Like, for people who don't understand, like, to be able to sing, play guitar, stay in tune, wow the crowd, you either have it or you don't. I don't think it's
Yeah,
something that you can, I mean, maybe you can practice, but to get to
yeah,
the level of like selling out a show and keeping 25,000 people interested on
yeah,
stage and you're the lead,
yeah.
like, hats off. I don't know
Well,
how you guys do it.
I will say that I'm not the lead guitarist. Okay, I'm not at that level where I can like take solos and like rock out or anything like that. But at very in when I was like in my 20s, when karaoke CDs were no longer acceptable to bring to gigs, it was like, well, I better learn how to play, otherwise I don't get to sing, right? And so I feel like technically I know nothing about music. But I know how to play all the chords with my eyes closed. I don't know what's in the chords, so that means nothing to me. But I can close my eyes and play everything the way that it's supposed to be played. So it's a little bit of muscle memory, and it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's
That's so funny you
crazy.
say that, because I was with the guitar player with Tom Cochran when he did Life is a Highway. We have
Yeah,
a close business relationship, and I'd ask him, "Hey, can you show me a couple chords?" And he couldn't. He goes, "I can't. I don't know how. Like, I don't know. Like, if you watch me play,
yeah,
but for me to show you, I can't." He goes,
yeah.
I can't remember, but give me the
Right.
song and I'll just rip it off." But yeah,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's so
Close
funny.
my eyes. Let's see what happens.
I want to say something that I heard yesterday, that you gave a big shout out to your husband on how
Oh yeah.
supportive he is. I think that's amazing. Share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so in 2020, I started my salon, and he was currently unemployed because he had got laid off during COVID. And I said to him, I said, like, I cannot do the salon, I can't do the music, I can't do the kids, I can't do everything alone. So if I'm going to take this leap, I need your support. And he's been behind me and so supportive. I mean, we've been together for 17 years, so we have a great line of communication that's some I mean, not saying that we're perfect, because we definitely annoy each other and get into it every once in a while, but the fact that I can work at the salon till 7 o'clock and come home, and our kids are fed and bathed and the dishes are done and the laundry is folded, and everybody is, it's almost like it's such a well-oiled machine that whether I'm here or not, everybody still gets their cup filled. And so then when I am here, it just makes it even more special, and I get to participate in it all. But he also really really loves his kids too. So that it was just kind of like a really easy transition for him to be able to support me and support them. And I mean, it's a partnership. It really honestly is. So anytime that he needs support, I try my best to support him. And yeah, it's just it's really it's all about communication. And if one person is upset about something, instead of sitting there and letting it fester, you have to talk about it, right? Otherwise, what are you doing, right? We'll just get so mad and then have a blow up.
Well, that's great. It's really good to be a well-rounded person. It seems like you very much are. What I want to do, because our producer's actually also a musician, and I bet you he might have a question for you. Jay, do you want to jump in there, or am I putting you on the spot for a question for Shalaine?
Hey, a little on the spot, but yeah, sure, always. How? Because I'm just learning about you now, to be honest. How frequently do you gig?
So in the summertime, it was like 2 or 3 shows a weekend, which is nuts.
Yeah.
But I'm also behind the chair 4 days a week. So it's pretty much every weekend I have something to do with music.
Right.
But I got to take a whole month and a half off because I got really sick. So that was like a welcome, like,
Uh,
I was, as sad as it was to
unwelcome
cancel.
break, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so sad to cancel some shows, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, that's actually okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
So as much as I can.
And how, like, I assume you have roadies, or do you guys move the gear yourself, or?
I do most of it myself.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm
I'm a
strong.
singer, and I own most of the gear in the band, so I
Yeah.
end up moving most of it,
Yeah.
which is the
Right.
counter to what most people think, right? So,
It is
Well, yeah,
nice every
everybody
once in
has
a
to have
while.
the van. Everybody has to have the van experience, right? They got to have the
Yes,
van
yes.
experience.
Well, every once in a while I do when the whole band gets to come, because I do a lot of solo shows depending on what the venue can afford. So when I do the band shows, there's a whole bunch of them that get to move all of the stuff and equipment and whatever. And one of the other day, one of the I think it was the bass player says, "When I grow up, I want to be a lead singer."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't want to be the drummer. You don't want to be
No,
the drummer.
drummers
No.
don't
man,
get
they
to
have
grow
so
up.
much stuff.
Well,
Okay,
that's great. Thanks, Jay. So, what we're going to do, I just want our viewers to know that Shalaine's going to be on our dial quite a bit. I know we have a couple other interviews set up for you. I think you're going to be out in the Windsor, Detroit area on Cameron's show. I'm going to get you out in Ottawa, and you're going to come back here because I know we have a lot of things happening. We haven't even get a chance to talk about the February 2nd event, your releases. So, what I'd like to do is I want to book you again, probably for next, because I know your Fridays seem to be a good day to do the media. So I think we're going to book you again for next Friday and just part 2. And we'll have you on and we'll talk about February 2nd event and more about your career, because we talked a little bit more about your family, and which is great, right? But I really want to get into the chords and the different inspirations and bridges and stuff like that, right? So if people want to find out more, where could they go, Shalaine? Like a website or anything like that?
Yeah, so you can go to www.shalainestebner.com, and then it has all of my links to my Instagram, my Facebook, my iTunes and Spotify, and whatever other. I'm on all streaming platforms, so pretty much anywhere. And if you just Google Shalaine Stebner, I don't know of any other Shalaine Stebner, so there shouldn't be anybody else that pops up.
Excellent. And I think right now we are live on Facebook, so I think people are commenting, but we go live all the time. So it'd be great if all your fans, which I did see, I have seen a lot of your fans clicking on our page. So I thank you for that.
So,
What
absolutely.
what I'm going to do, we're going to wrap the show. So again, your website one more time.
www.shalainestebner.com.
Excellent. So stay tuned. I'm going to come back and I'm going to wrap the show with just a couple of channel updates. You're watching WildChild Records. We'll be right back.
Love is the only way. Love is the only way. Love is the only way. Take a breath. Let it be alright. Take a breath. Let it be enough right now. Let this moment be what it is. Let this moment be your doorway to bliss. Seeking love, 'cause it's seeking you.
Welcome back to the show. What an exciting show today. What a nice lady. What a wonderful musician. She's going to be, again, Shalaine's going to be on our platform for the next 4, 5, 6 months or years. Who knows? So I just want to give some updates before we go. We're gearing up for the Invictus Games out in British Columbia starting February 8th. We're going to be there February 2nd with Shalaine, actually, and Big Records. Hopefully, they're going to have Special Agent Sunshine out there. Brandy, I think, is going to be coming out there. Some veteran element. Maybe we're going to have Fraser out there. So we're going to be at White Rock Legion on February 2nd for a fundraiser leading into the games from February 8th to the 16th. The Disability Channel is going to be there in all types of capacity, including production, entertainment, media. We'll be doing interviews. I just want to mention something about the Hammer, Hamilton. We've been doing a lot of stuff with Hamilton lately, trying to create new innovative jobs in film and television. We're going to have some great updates. Check out a new television series coming out, Flanagan's. Extremely violent, but again, it's fiction, right? So lots of entertainment. Do buy our 50/50 tickets, courtesy of Veteran House Alliance International. We have a monthly draw. 50% goes to the winner. 50% goes towards the Disability Channel employment programs for persons with disabilities and veterans. We really appreciate it. Check us out, www.thedisabilitychannel.ca. Be our next guest on WildChild Records. We love to showcase independent, mainstream, and worldwide artists. Again, we're all about music, music, music. Music makes the world go round. I'm Jay Stoyan. You're watching WildChild Records. We'll see you next time.
Audio Jungle.